Yo, what's up? It's Renan, and we're going to talk about Apex. To the people who are new to the channel, I've been grinding Lost Ark a lot, and funnily enough, have more hours in Lost Ark than in Apex. So how did I get a high rank in Apex in Season 12 being a Lost Ark Giga Chad? We're going to talk about it. First, let's talk about the elephant in the room, practicing your aim. I'm going to be honest with all of you keyboard and mouse players, you should download Kovacs, maybe even watch my aim training guides. People say that it doesn't work, but listen, it does work. People who struggle to hit diamond are usually players with little mechanical skill, as hitting diamond is really as easy as just out-aiming everyone. I have guides for tracking, flicking, and more on my channel, so you can watch those if you want, but trust me, practicing your aim will get you so far in Apex, as I feel like the mechanical skill of players up until maybe high diamond and master tier is really low. Most people reach a high rank, especially this season, by playing the map, rotations, and hiding for placement, which of course is more brain than aim. Outside of raw aim, definitely try to get your movement down. The cleaner the movement you have, the more situations you can get out of. This is really just about going into the practice range and getting tab strafing, b-hopping, and wall bouncing down. Again, this is just practice and consciously working on these techniques, which will set you above the diamond players mechanically. But let's talk about actual strategy of the game, because what I said before is really just the same old thing you've heard before. Practice makes perfect. I like to think of solo queue versus 3 stacking like this. Playing with a good squad is like being Cerberus. 3 dangerous parts that make up the same whole. However, solo queue is like playing with a bunch of ugly ducklings that get lost and are very harmless. You have to be the mother duck to lead these ugly ducklings to victory. Strategy, if you want to be the mother duck, is very important, especially in solo queue. So my first main idea for you to master on the grind is have the mindset of never being the first one of your team to get knocked. Again, if you're the leader and the mother duck and you go down, the ducklings are going to get lost. Having this idea in mind at all times will do a few things. You'll be more aware of your teammate's position, aware of your cover, and of your enemy's position to avoid being flanked. So many times in solo queue, especially where people do not listen, your teammates will push forward, not aware of your positioning or the other teammate's positioning, while also being out of cover. This overextension gets your teammate knocked and you're forced into a hard 2v3 that you almost always lose. However, I'm not saying to play passively, just to be aware of your surroundings before being aggressive. Essentially, this will make you play smarter. Hopefully you will also learn to take fights better. You want to be a ghost dipping and dodging in a fight, trying to dish out as much damage without taking damage. Remember, King's Canyon is a nightmare for third parties, which means you need to avoid becoming vulnerable by taking too much damage. Here's a few tips to be the Casper of Apex Legends. Always fight near cover. Never fight without cover unless you will get a guaranteed kill without being in the open to get third party. Shoot your enemy and duck behind cover right when you can tell they will start shooting at you. Wait for them to stop spraying or reload, and then re-peek to shoot them or their teammates. Apex, because of its long time to kill, is a battle of attrition. So whittle your opponents down so they get third party to not you, or you can push them with things like Octane Pad, Ash Portal, or just simply running them down. You want to fly like a butterfly and sting like a bee. Also, never be the teammate that asks, "Where's my team?" because then you know you messed up really bad. You should always know where your team is, and if you don't, then you need to work on your awareness. The minimap is there for you to use, so just look up and notice where your team is before you engage, always. You're not It's Timmy that can wipe a whole team, even in high diamond by himself. And even if you could, players like Timmy use cover and positioning to their advantage. So don't be the horny Octane that runs in alone, dies, and then blames his team. But let's get into another of my main focuses when I was solo queuing, which is to stick to your team like they have honey between their butt cheeks. I read that quote somewhere, so I thought I'd use it because I thought it was funny, and it does relate to when you play Apex solo queue. This again requires you to be watching your minimap and looking for your team, noticing where they are so you can support them. Some of you may not have experienced it yet, but if you ever play with a guy that is always near you, plays to guard you, team shoots with you, and more, it's like you're in heaven on earth. Teammates that are always in the right place at the right time make the game so much damn easier, and you want to be that teammate. Outside of the initial looting phase, you should always posture near your team and never get too far ahead of them, have a plan to get to them quickly, and always be ready to save them from the inevitable bad play. It's solo queue. You will always get teammates, no matter their rank, that are unaware of their surroundings. Let's talk about the big picture now, the map and positioning. Obviously, depending on the map, your goals kind of change. Kings Canyon is notorious for being third-party central, so always look to avoid fighting after the initial drop, even if you don't have KP, unless the KP is right there in front of you on a silver platter. Remember, in solo queue, you can't rely on your teammates to help you win a fight, and lots of times a 3v3 will be a guaranteed loss with random teammates for a couple of reasons. The enemy team is a 3-stack who plays a lot, or your teammates are just not mechanically good. Or maybe you have to admit it to yourself, maybe you're not mechanically good. And unless you somehow manage to kill 1 or 2 people for free, then maybe try to dip out of a fight if it takes too long. If you watch my grind to master video, you'll notice how many times my team is knocked in those clips requiring me to save the situation. What you don't see is how many times these same situations happened and I ended up dying and we lost. Try to avoid these situations. Season 12 rewards placement, so use it to your advantage. Use a loadout that is tailored for third partying, my favorite being the car and triple take combo. You have strong long and close range and can even use a triple take as a shotgun, which is why I love this combo so dang much. Having a sniper or marksman weapon allows you to essentially get kills for free in the late game without putting your team in danger, so always try to run a long range loadout. I know you'll see pros that run R301 in a shotgun, or the ASU special, the wingman in R301, but these are when you get up close and personal in fights with a squad. This is my personal opinion, but if you're solo queuing, you're going to have unreliable teammates, so you should play a loadout suited for the situation. But again, R301 and shotgun is a close second for me personally in solo queue, as you can do a lot of damage very quickly. Also, you should look to play at the edge of zone and avoid the center where people tend to congregate. If you play at the center, you'll run into teams, and being in the center, teams from a full 360 degrees around you will notice you shooting, and you can be attacked from all angles, especially it being on Kings Canyon. If you play the edge of zone, you'll only be attacked from the front, most times at least, unless people are coming from outside the zone. Remember, we're talking about Kings Canyon, the smallest map, and if you fight, you're going to be rushed down like no other. Also, when looking at the zone, try to figure out what part of the edge of the zone will be the safest, while allowing you the easiest access to the end zone. Corners of the map that the end zone is at will lead you to a position where you can't be shot from behind, and can hold a position that will lead you into the final zone without having to move out of position. This allows you to also rat, as other teams never see you move, thereby how can they third party you if they don't even know where you are? Additionally, if you get into a good position late game before other teams, they will likely run into your building or position without even knowing, and you could have all of your teammates shoot these guys in the back and wipe them like it's a Metal Gear Solid mission. I always calm for my teammates to cut noise and hide if we think people are running up to completely wipe them before they even know what happened. People talk bad about strategies like this, but remember, you can play rank like a survival game. You don't have to or want to emulate pro players that play the game 10 hours a day, every day, for a living, who also just so happen to be triple queuing with 2 other pros. That isn't you in solo queue. You'll get crushed if you try to brute force your way to the higher ranks. Also, try to IGL in all of your games, or in-game lead, if you can, as one, it will force you to actively think about your situation, which will cause you to improve and also lead you into a better position overall. I try to make the calls in solo queue as it leads to the best growth for these reasons. If you properly learn the advice I'm giving, you'll likely gain a ton more RP, as you'll properly lead your team into the best positions possible without even having to fight. Also, we can talk about one more thing, and that is surviving even if your team dies. If you notice your team's banners are being camped, don't be afraid to run and hide for placement. Saving or even gaining RP from ratting is so crucial to avoid going down in rank when you shouldn't. It is pretty boring to rat in games, but gaining RP instead of losing RP by running in and dying with your team is a much better alternative. And that basically covers what I did to get through the ranks while solo queuing. I might make videos on how to fight, be a better teammate, and more, but that's for the future. For now, guys, I'm headed out. Thank you so much for watching.